How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What is up, Will?
What up, what up?
Welcome, everybody, to the Story of the Fight. My name is Ramiro. That's my boy, Will. This is where we talk all things combat sports. But before we do, right, I want to remind everybody, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, goes a long way. All that fun stuff, all the social medias, right, Will?
Yeah, it's at Story of the Fight on everything. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, Story of the Fight. Go to storyofthefight.com and list all of them. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts if you don't want to watch, if you just want to listen. But YouTube's definitely the way to go. Story of the Fight everywhere.
Yeah, and today we're going to be covering UFC Vegas 101. We're going to be covering One Fight Night 27. So for anybody that's logging on, we'll have the timestamps on the video as well. You can go through and click on the fight that you really wanted to listen about or chime in on. But Will, we have some unfinished business, man.
Yeah, before we get into the fights, we got to go over something.
Yeah, unfinished business. So last week we reviewed the predictions video and who was going to end as champions, right, for 2024 in the UFC.
Yeah.
We're giving away a mini belt for the listeners that submitted their picks that had the most picks correct. We had a four-way tie.
We had a four-way tie between Regen, Ganskow, HLB Comer, and Keith. Four-way tie.
Ooh.
Speaking, we got Regen in the comments already. We got Genevieve. Ooh. We got Keith. Oh, did you see the profile picture? Hey, shout out Pepper. Keith changed his profile picture. I believe it was our belt. He's coming for the belt.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So yes, and your boy over here actually jumped in the fun as well. I submitted my predictions. Yes, because I was also tied. I think we all ended with 4 correct, right?
4.5 correct. Because we did 0.5 for the interim belt. But yeah, so we had everybody do a tiebreaker and predict the winners, the outcomes of this last UFC Vegas 101. We said whoever gets the most picks correctly gets the mini belt between those 4. And then we're like, if there is a tie, it falls back to method of victory. So give us the whole card, your picks, and give us the method. If there's a tie, we fall back on method. If there's no tie, it's just the number correct. Holy moly, though. And so yeah, shout out everybody. Thanks for joining.
I don't even know, because you're the one that saw all the picks that were submitted. I submitted my picks to you. So this is actually a surprise to me as well.
Yeah, well, because, you're...
Not only do I have the regular Story of the Fight belt, where I beat you out, Will, so I am now is that 3-time champion, I believe now?
3-time champion.
3-time champion. But I wasn't satisfied with that. I wanted to go up against the listeners to unify, if possible. Yeah. Unify the belts. You know what I mean?
Okay, let's see the
results.
Okay.
Ooh.
So HLB Comer, Regen, Ganskow, Keith. Those are all their picks. I'm not going to go through each and every one because that would be horrible to listen to. But those are the picks. The next slide will show you who got what correct. Bam, look at that. Okay, so HLB Comer's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Regen, 2, 4, 6, 8. Regen's HLB Comer, you're out. I'm sorry. You're out. Ganskow, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Wow.
Ganskow's in the running.
Not too shabby.
Keith, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tied with HLB Comer.
Ooh.
So, Ganskow is the winner of the mini belt.
Hey. Congratulations, Ganskow. You stay classy. Look at that. What a picture, dude.
The Ron Berg.
That's fantastic.
10 picks correct for Ganskow.
So,
Regen, the gracious Regen who won last year, gives it up for Ganskow. One
cool. Champion to another,
Yeah, one champ to another.
That's fantastic.
Shout out Jimmy. I'm the former mod at Protect Your Neck. Excited to be here. Shout out Jimmy. Thanks for joining. Excited to have you. Shout out James, also from Protect Your Neck. I saw Ghost out there too, and Rio as well, or Rio.
That's right. Hey, but now I'm curious. How did I do?
Let's see. Ganskow versus Ramiro. So Ganskow got 10. What does Ramiro got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
10 as well.
So we got a tie. So it falls back to method of victory.
Yes. Now I'm nervous.
So now that's the next slide.
Now I'm nervous.
Okay. So Ramiro's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 methods of victory correct. Ganskel's got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, wow. Shout out Ganskel. Shout out Ganskel by one. By one. Oh, wow. I blame Mark Smith. And we will discuss.
Yeah, we'll discuss that. You blame Mark Smith, but, you got one from Hatley, so.
Yeah, great. Shout out Ganskel, man. What a performance.
That's not bad, though. 10 picks correct.
And 8
methods.
Ooh, wow, that's really,
Hey,
really
shout out
good. All right. So now, again, congratulations, Ganskel. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully, everybody submits their picks. We have up until when, Will, for everybody to submit their predictions for 2025?
Yeah, so next year we'll give out another belt. So Ganskel is going to get a belt this year. Next year we'll give out another one, and what determines that is
Ganskel, this is coming your way.
Look at that.
Look at this.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Look at the way it shines, dude.
It's so
better than an Emmy, better than an Oscar.
Yeah, better than a real UFC belt.
Well,
hey, Ghost doing our job for us says make sure you guys have notifications on so we drop in whenever. I mean, come on.
I appreciate it.
We should say that at the beginning of the show too.
No, we're bad at promoting, but Ghost is better.
yeah. But so we have until Saturday. That's the first UFC title fight is this upcoming Saturday. So on our last live stream, if you want to hop in to the comments on that video and submit your picks for who you think is going to end the year with the belt in each division, that is what's going to determine who wins the mini belt next year. So go back. You have all week to do it.
Absolutely. Ribas says I was ready to eat someone over that belt. He was ready to go full cannibalism. You know what I mean? Full cannibal.
Yeah.
He was ready.
That's a new nickname.
All right. So now we'll go on. I believe we had UFC Vegas 101, right?
Correct. Yes.
And it was Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas. The rematch. Yes, absolutely. So as you saw on my picks, I had Mackenzie Dern going into this. Will, how did you have it going in?
I also had Mackenzie Dern going into this one. And after we're only going to cover the main card for the UFC. No prelims this time, but at the end of the covering the UFC, we'll show our picks for the event because Rich also submitted picks, and we need to start looking at that at the end of the broadcast. But I had Dern as well. I thought she would win. I also thought she was going to win by submission, like you had. I think, this fight went similar to how I thought it was going to go. It starts off right. They're trying to feel each other out. Look, most of the discussion about this fight is either Mackenzie Dern's improving so much, or is she really? And I don't know where you're at. I'm kind of in the is she really boat a little bit. I think people are getting swept up with her getting a finish here. But I still saw things that I've wished that she would improve upon her whole career. I did see one thing that I think she did improve upon, and I was like, that's really cool. And it was early in the fight. And then after that, it was all the other stuff was still nowhere to be seen. So I was like, well, that's cool at least, I guess. What did you think? Do you think she improved a ton?
Look, the very first thing I looked for going in is Jason Perillo in her corner. That's the very first thing I checked for. Perillo was in her corner. I was like, okay, yes. Like, I think she has an opportunity to improve on some striking. Now, I see a little bit of more head movement. By the way, Perillo yelling from the corner is poetic, man. Like,
yes.
So motivational, right? Letting you know exactly what's happening. Like, very cool, calm, collected. Like, hey, do this, do this, do this. Like, he really sounds like somebody I would want to have in my corner, right? But so he's talking about, the head movement, and like I'm looking like, okay, not bad. And then she does this one thing where she puts her head down and throws these overhand shots without looking, and I was like, oh no. And you can even hear no, like out of the corner, and I was like, oh, I think they talked about this.
My big thing, is you can kind of see it in this photo, this is not a great way to retreat from someone throwing punches at you. The moving straight backwards, leaning backwards away from the punches while kind of just throwing your hands like this to try to maybe, I don't know if she's trying to hit her. She's nowhere near hitting her. I don't know if she's trying to like punch the punches away. She's trying to like parry stuff, but it's looking like punch.
It
It's not
sounded
good.
like that's what they were talking about. I heard Perillo a couple times just saying, mentioning her
Parry?
hands,
Okay.
mentioning her hands over and over again, and he's like, yes, a couple times that she did parry. He was like,
Yeah.
yes.
Go
So maybe it might have been something that they were working on.
Maybe. We need to work on it a bit more. Ghost says, I moaned about this in the DMs and on X. I'm in the is she really mode too. Yes. The one thing I will give her credit for, James says in the Protect Your Net, we call her the booty burglar because she robbed Tisha Torres, and we know the judges weren't looking at the strikes that she landed. Can we go to the next picture, Rich? I think it's the next one. Yes. Okay. This is what I had to make this because I was like, this is one thing that will it's something I've always been looking for her to improve actual takedowns.
Her entry?
Her reaching for people and trying to land trips and stuff in the clinch. It's not working.
Yes.
Not working. We need her actually shooting takedowns, things like that. This wasn't perfect. I'm not saying this was like an incredible takedown. Wow, great job. Mackenzie Dern's a D1 wrestler or something like that. But I will say that this is an improvement for her. So it's still a positive. How much of it is how much positive? Who knows? But she feints with the left hand over Ribas's jab. Ribas reacts to that feint by throwing this right hook in the picture in the middle of the top there. Throws right hook. She ducks under the hook. So she feinted to draw a counter, knowing that she could slip under that counter. That's improvement from Dern. You know what I mean? That's like big break Dern mode. It's basics.
Yes.
We have not seen that in the past. Then, not only did she didn't just grab her with a body lock. Normally, she just reaches in and grabs people with a body lock and tries to like wrestle them down. Not very good at it. This time, she actually collected a leg, lifted that leg, and drove her all the way to the fence. And as soon as she hit the fence, she turned the corner. She used that momentum and the bounce back of the fence to turn the corner and seat her down. That is an improvement from Dern. I liked seeing that because, okay, she's working on takedowns and stuff, and she's clearly understanding it. If she's drawing out counters to then duck under the counters, it's not the same as like running at someone throwing all these crazy punches just to grab a hold. It's like I'm gonna feint, draw a counter, duck under it. That's good. Everything else was just kind of old Dern.
I will say this though, shots looked a little straighter from what I saw instead of the looping shots, right? Yeah. And then really where the biggest difference was on the ground, right? So you have Ribas on her back and she's holding on for dear life, doing a great job controlling the distance between the two. She wraps her arm around Dern's neck and just holds her there as long as she can, avoids receiving any damage, avoids getting subbed. And she says, you know what? Live to fight another day. We'll come out in the second round. It starts standing. We'll see what I could do there.
I'll take her down.
Yeah. So she takes her down. And this is where the difference is, right? Yes.
Off her back.
Dern ate some shots off her back, but she was also threatening, right? Going
the omoplata was cool.
Armbar goes for an omoplata, and this, everybody knows Mackenzie Dern, jiu-jitsu, everybody says, whole other level, right?
Yeah.
And she showed it,
100%. Yeah, the omoplata was cool to sweep from that. The armbar, the armbar, she didn't get off her back, but she used it to sweep and end up in mount, which then from mount, she ended up getting the armbar, getting the submission.
So good.
And while that's very cool, there's the sweep with the omoplata, which is just so cool. I think this isn't a black and white fight. It's not. Mackenzie Dern has improved leaps and bounds. No, but she did also improve on things that will get her to the avenue or the platform that will allow her to get a win, right? Like she's working on getting the fight to the ground in a much better way, a more effective way that allows her to work her game. And that's good. Like build around your game. Don't try to become like, a flashy boxer. You're not a flashy boxer. She's not.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pepper, shout out Pepper says, what weight class is this? I feel like the women in one are a lot smaller than the ones in the UFC. Is that correct? Well, generally, yeah, one has atom weight and stuff like that. So naturally, they're going to be bigger in the UFC. This is at 115 Pepper, but, they're cutting. So she's probably what, like 125, 130?
A healthy 125, maybe.
Healthy. You're asking Rich. Healthy.
Yes.
130. But yeah, so, and I also think part of it is Ribas is not as good as she maybe used to be. I think she might be on a downward trend a little bit too. So I think that kind of plays into it a little bit as well. It was cool seeing her bring her daughter in there with the Eevee plushie.
Yeah, that was
Pretty
super
sick.
cool.
Shout out. I also found out maybe we shouldn't be calling Genevieve. Maybe we should be calling her Evie.
Oh,
It's
Evie.
maybe what Blunderbuff calls it.
Okay, good to know.
Evie.
Good to know. Shout out Evie. You know what I mean?
Shout out Evie.
So what's next for Dern? I think she was ranked 6 going into this.
Well, that's the big thing. Some people are talking about a title shot.
No.
Look, here's the thing. She did well in this fight. She got the win. She got a finish. She was able to get the fight where she needed to on the ground. That's not what led to the finish. It was actually Ribas taking her down, which is kind of hilarious. But when you look at like the people, like one of the things that really bothered me, not just like what you said, those windmill punches, the swimming punches, I like to call them. It was also the moving backwards like this and kind of flailing. Mine was her literally running up with her hands like pumping like this to land leg kicks. She literally ran at her like 3 times to land a leg kick. And I'm just thinking about like Zhang Wei Li and Andrade and even Yan Xiaonan. Like if you run up to any of those girls, you're going to get flatlined. Like you're going to run right into a punch. You cannot be doing that. So we ask what's next. I mean, who's above her? I'm pulling up the rankings right now.
I don't know. And she has kind of said that she wants to not rush to the title shot, right?
Yeah, that's
Which
smart.
it is very smart. It is very smart. And look, I know like people are mentioning right now, you know, that people are calling her the next GOAT, you know, after just a couple wins. People are comparing her to Ronda Rousey, saying she's the next Ronda Rousey. Look, and that's probably not her fault. You know, the UFC is trying to go through and promote her, and she's like, yo, like I'm just doing my thing, and they're promoting me, and they're pushing me.
You take that in stride.
You absolutely.
Yeah.
But she has also shown some humility in being able to say, look, like I need to slow this pace down a little bit. I got some work to do. Also, by the way, how about Bisping? Just throwing Perillo under the bus at the end. He's like, Perillo said that you're learning how to strike on the job. And you see Dern's dad look over at Perillo. Perillo goes, he puts his arms up and shakes his head like, dude, why would you do that to me? Classic.
Well, you mentioned the humility, and that is true because she missed weight a couple times right early in her career, and then all of a sudden she came back shredded, and you're like, okay, she's taking this seriously now. She addressed She addressed the crazy punching by hiring Perillo. She left Perillo, looked horrible. She addressed that by getting him back. So like, so she's able to recognize these things. I think the only thing that if this UFC wants to do her a favor, they don't do a Lemos rematch. They don't do Andrade. I think Jandiroba is probably like what they'll do.
You know, right? Jandiroba sees attacks from every angle.
How dare you?
What's so funny, dude?
How dare you?
What? But that would be a tough matchup still.
Would you say she's like Bilal Muhammad, like she sees things from everywhere?
Maybe.
Or like Steve Buscemi and Mr. Deeds, she sees things from everywhere.
One of the best characters ever. Oreos and Gumballs, my favorite. Yes, so Mackenzie Dern probably going to fight somebody ranked higher this time. And we'll see who she gets. Either way, nice submission. We move on.
Cool armbar.
Yeah. All right. We'll go on to the co-main event. And for the co-main, we had Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Carlston Harris. What a fight, huh?
This was a banger. Unfortunately, it's marred by kind of the ending of it, but just 2 old dudes swinging and banging. And, you know, sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's horrible and it's really depressing. And then sometimes it's good.
How about Harris with this interesting right? Like he comes in like from like...
You can't see my arms. I don't know what I'm doing, but...
Like an angle. It's not like a full tomahawk.
No, you know what it is, dude?
What is it?
They say, like, speaking of Mackenzie Dern, early on, they say throwing her punches like that, it's like throwing a rock on a rope, right? It's like swinging a rock on a rope. This dude's out there, and he's like trying to skip rocks on a lake or something.
Oh.
It's like his elbow is like tucked in. Look at that. I mean, that's kind of a weird picture. There's not a ton of great photos from this event, by the way, just as a warning.
But this right starts landing on Ponzinibbio. Ponzinibbio starts getting wobbled. After he gets wobbled, Even the jab seems to be affecting him. Like he stops dead in his tracks whenever the jab starts landing, right?
Yeah.
So Santiago's dropped twice in the first round. Second round, Ponzinibbio starts landing a 1-2 of his own.
Yeah.
Right?
He starts finding that right hand because I think Harris really started. Well, first off, they're in a fight, right? So everything starts to lose its tightness and all that stuff as the fight goes on. You just get slower, you get more loose. Things are becoming more labored. So it's not as tight as he was. And he starts kind of reaching, like this picture, he's kind of reaching for some of those shots, which allows Ponzinibbio
He was
to
landing
see
some
them
nice
right
body
and counter
shots,
them.
though, from a distance.
The whole fight. Yeah, the whole fight.
Yeah.
I really like the left hook to the body. The deliver is really cool. But Ponzinibbio starts landing that long right hand, his cross, like really, really long. I think the next picture is him countering with the left hook on that same body punch as Harris is reaching. And I noticed Harris starts throwing shots. He started off faster than Ponzinibbio. So Ponzinibbio would start to throw something and he would beat him to the punch. And at the end of the fight, when he was getting rocked, Ponzinibbio would load up and Harris would be like, great, and throw his shot and miss. And then Ponzinibbio's landing it. And it's like, I think he just got labored and just the jab. He was getting lit up the whole fight, right? He's bleeding through the nose and all that stuff. So like he was getting stung a bit. And I think it just over time slowed him down, slowed down his reaction time, slowed down his awareness. He's a little wobbly. And Ponzinibbio is just a dog, dude. You're going to have to put him out. You're going to have to put him out.
And it's so hard
he
to put him
tried
out.
with that shot to the back of the head.
You think you have him out.
Yeah.
And he just keeps on getting up.
Yeah. And so does Harris, because that third round, Ponzinibbio starts landing that right hand over and over again, and it's wobbling him bad. Then he follows up with the left hook and drops him. I think we have a picture of it next, Rich. So that's a big right hand there. That's the big one that starts the sequence of the end of the fight. And here it is. So he hits him with that big right hand. Harris stumbles forward. He walks right into that left hook of Ponzinibbio in that first picture on the top left. He falls down. And at this point, Kerry Hatley's running over. He's like, oh, shit. He's
pushing
back up.
Ponzinibbio in.
Well, so he gets up. Harris gets up. Ponzinibbio clinches with him. Kerry Hatley tries to stop, but puts his hands on Ponzinibbio's back, then steps off. And then Harris throws a left hook at Ponzinibbio, and he steps in and stops it. And he has to because he touched him. You can't put both hands on the guy's back and be like,
never mind.
Kidding. Yeah.
JK.
Because, in that split second, Ponzinibbio might be like, oh, I'm good, and take a step back and think he wins. Horrible. Absolutely horrible stoppage. I don't want to rag on refs and stuff, but because it is a hard job, all that stuff. That being said, you got to call it out when it's out. It is a bad stoppage, dude. It's so bad, dude.
Oh, Hatley, silly goose.
And I don't know. I mean, that third round was definitely Ponzinibbio's, right?
Yeah.
He was hurting him bad. Second round was clearly Harris. I don't know what they scored the second round or the first round. Sorry.
I mean, he dropped him twice, right? So would you go 10-8?
Probably not.
So that's the case.
So Sal D'Amato, shout out Sal D'Amato, had Harris 2 rounds to nothing going into the third. So if it went the distance, he would have won on Sal D'Amato's scorecard. Mike Bell and David Letheby had Harris winning the first round, Ponzinibbio winning the second round. That's kind of crazy, right? From what I remember, Ponzinibbio was getting lit up that second round.
Well, no, he started taking over in the second round. And that's when that 1-2 started landing a lot more. Yeah. But no, I want to say I had it for Ponzinibbio on the second round too.
Okay. Could be wrong. Watched a lot of fights this week. But so if it went to decision, Ponzinibbio would have won the decision, but not good. Hatley's the same ref that stopped Turner versus Green and Watterson versus Gomez. Okay, so Turner versus Green was the horrible late stoppage. So maybe there's always thoughts of someone who has a really late stoppage. The next time, maybe they're a little quicker on the trigger because they're like, I don't want a repeat of that. And so they stop it too early. They overcompensate. So maybe it's a little bit of that. But if it went the distance, Ponzinibbio would have won. But he's also almost 40, so Harris could have finished him in the last minute or so, whatever was left. It was short, right? There was
there wasn't very much time left.
3:30. So there's 2 minutes. You never know. He could have cracked it, but
he could have also finished him.
A lot of things could have happened. Unfortunately, the thing that did happen was
we'll just never know.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. All right,
does Hatley look like a shredded? He got shredded recently, but does he look like a shredded Kevin Spacey to you? He's always reminded me of Kevin Spacey for some reason.
You think
Not like
so?
exactly, but I see it.
Like
It's there a little
resemblance?
bit.
By the
Yeah.
way, shout
Hopefully
out to
Justin
Harris
looks.
hanging out for the interview as well, looking like a proud dad in the background while
Yeah.
Ponzinibbio gets interviewed. Like Ponzinibbio's talking and Harris, hands on his waist, he's just
Walks
like
over.
smiling, just like kind of looking left and right, you know? And I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, look, he looks so proud of him. It was
Yeah.
good. All right, we'll move on. We also had César Almeida versus Abdul Razak Alhassan.
Yes. Yes. So real quick, shout out Keith. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for the picks this year. You tied last year. Great effort. Shout out Keith.
He says it's mine 2025. He's calling a shot now.
Ooh, I like the profile picture. I like the shout out. All right.
it.
But yeah, Alhassan versus Almeida. Fun fight. Short list. Put it on the list already of cool knockouts of 2025. To remember later on in the year. Basically, fight starts. Almeida's doing his best Poatan impression, just hopping in, hands open like this to try to parry shots. That weird side low kick without actually torquing anything or turning your hips over. Hopping in, trying to land that left hook. And Alhassan says, I'm done with this. I'm not going to let you just stand in front of me with your hands like this, trying to parry my shots. I'm going to punch right through him. And he drops him. Almeida's there. Actually does a great job when Alhassan tries to go in for the kill.
Yes.
He goes for a single leg, is able to then use that to get to his knees and walk over to the fence and get up. And Alhassan's like, great. I'm sure this guy's still hurt. And he tags him a couple times on the fence. But Almeida rolls with a couple of them really well. They both miss with the power shot. I think the next picture shows it. Yeah, they both miss. And they're like,
but look at him.
Great. They're both winding up their left hook, but you see how off balance Alhassan is because he's rushing things.
And his chin is up.
And his chin is up. Well,
swinging chin up.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, Almeida's like, now's my shot. Garbrandt versus Sunsao, and just Dan Hardy versus Carlos Condit. They both left hook each other, but one of them gets fucking murked. It's crazy, dude. That was
that Falcon punch, dude.
Yeah. Holy moly,
God.
dude. I mean,
he was
Jesus
out
Christ.
for a while too.
Yeah, not good. Not good. I mean, he went stiff, dude. It's never good when you go stiff like that, where you're like, and then you fall back.
He was out so long, they started wiping down the octagon just like around him. Just they didn't know when he was going to get up, dude.
No, they were actually just doing a chalk line around him.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought they were. I thought they were cleaning. It was chalk the entire time.
Yeah.
Holy smokes! What a finish, though. Alhassan kind of trying to turn it into a sloppy banger, and it was getting really close to that. But
Almeida just stayed composed.
Huge finish, man.
I would say it's a meme fight just because it's a kickboxer. Yeah, there's aspects of it for sure. But the thing that I really liked was Almeida in the interview, and this is just like these guys. Some of these guys are built different. In the interview, post-fight interview, he goes, "Yeah, I knew when he dropped me. I was still there. I thought I grappled well, but I knew as we were getting up, okay, he just dropped me. He's gonna go for the kill right now."
Yeah.
And what was his response to that? I can finish him. And you're like, what?
Oh, so
for
good.
Me, if I'm in there and I'm like, this guy just dropped me, he's about to swarm me, I'm like, I might take a knee. You know what I mean?
Call time
for
out.
him, it's an opportunity, dude.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's amazing. Evie saying, "Is he okay? He was out really bad. Not a doctor, but that doesn't seem healthy." Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I think he's fine now. I mean, he's concussed for sure, which is
he can barely get out of the ring, out of the octagon. Yeah, and look, it was a really scary moment when they sat him down on the stool, and he they had to help him sit up straight on the stool because it looked like he was going to pass out again. But
it's
rough.
Not good. Getting
Congratulations, Almeida, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nasty knockout. It's on the short list for sure. There was something else that I wrote down that I can't find now that I wanted to mention about it, but
about the last fight.
Yeah, I forgot where I don't know. I don't have it.
All right. Well, we shall move on, sir. We had Kopylov versus Curtis.
Kopylov versus Curtis, another fucking ridiculous finish. Fun fight though. Chris Curtis, I don't know who he's paying off to get to fight in the Apex where he doesn't have to cut off the cage, where it's only like super short cage where he can just walk people down. But It was a fun fight, dude. It's interesting seeing two southpaws fight, and because the jab is now important, and both of them were jabbing the hell out of each other.
Yeah, look, but for me, Curtis with the double jab, you know,
Mhm.
I felt like he was using that to touch him up more than anything and try to close the
Yeah.
distance. While
Mhm.
Kopylov had a stiff jab, man, and it
Yeah.
was thudding every
And then
time it landed, stopping Curtis in his tracks.
he finally started throwing the cross behind it towards the end of the fight. But
Yes.
one thing that I really like, and the most interesting part about this fight for me, is Chris Curtis is very good fighting behind his shell.
Hmm.
He's very good at blocking shots and rolling with shots and turning with them, and then using that roll to then open up a shot of his own, and use that momentum. It's very cool. But the thing that I really like about Kopylov and what he noticed is, because they're both southpaw, Chris Curtis doesn't always have to worry about outside leg kicks, because most of the time he's fighting an orthodox guy, and they're not going to throw. Most people don't throw step up leg kicks from their lead leg to the outside
Oh,
of a
he ate a
southpaw.
lot of leg kicks.
Yeah, because they're both southpaw. So one thing that Kopylov was able to do is just preoccupy Curtis with his hands, because he knows Curtis is going to shell and just stand there and just roll with some shots. Meanwhile, his left leg, or his lead leg, sorry, his right leg, is just planted there, open for kicks, because he's worried about what's coming up here. So he can just kind of throw some things, and Curtis is just going to freeze and start blocking, and then he can just crack him to the leg. And there's a picture, I think it's the next one. Oh, that's a big shot. Okay, so here. So you see Chris Curtis fights like this very well, but look where his lead leg is.
Mm-hmm.
And Kopylov understands this. So the next picture is a cool sequence. And like Ghost is talking about, Southpaws, the right side is very cool. Or very open for Southpaws when they're fighting on their Southpaw, because they're just not used to getting hit from that side. So there's a big leg kick from Kopylov. You can kind of see it there. Can we go back to having us on screen, Rich, just so that one's not blocked? Thank you, sir. So Kopylov kicks him in the leg, and you see it's like he moves his leg out in front of him with that kick. Then he starts throwing hands, and look at the third picture. Curtis is completely focused on punches that are coming up. He doesn't
Shelled
even
up.
see. He doesn't even see that
Yeah.
Kopylov is winding up to throw this nasty leg kick, and it completely takes the leg out from under him. And then as soon as he gets back to position, he eats a left hand, because he's now done blocking up top. He's like, "Oh, he kicked me in the leg. I'm done." He's done with that combination. He eats this big shot that, like, that's the one that really hurt him too, where he like stumbled and had to catch himself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Really cool shit to freeze him in that position with his hands to then chew up that lead leg. Really cool, and it's something that Curtis normally doesn't have to deal with.
Something that Curtis talked about a lot too is just how he feels judges don't understand the fact that he rolls with a lot of punches. Kind of hard to not see the leg kicks, because, like you
Yeah.
said, he got his leg kicked off plenty of times. He ate a
Mhm.
lot of body shots too
Yeah.
in the third, clean body shots, which you can't necessarily roll with those. But overall, man, it was really nice performance from Kopylov.
Yeah, really cool. And then the finish is this high kick here that Curtis leans right into, stumbles him. He falls forward, and you're like, "Oh no, that might be a finish." There's like 3 seconds left, by the way. Mark Smith's coming in hot. The next picture shows that Curtis is okay. He's not knocked out, and he's on his way to get back up. Kopylov just walks away, and Mark Smith's like, "That's it."
Kopylov turned and was like, finish him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done. You know, he's like, all right, I'll stop it.
Yeah, and so he stops it with 1 second left, and Curtis is like, "What the fuck, man? He knocked me over, but I'm still fine. Like, I'm not knocked out, dude."
When
Uh,
Kopylov says it's over, okay?
yeah, and and I know people are saying like, "Oh, it's only 1 second left. You got to let that go." First off, he doesn't know that it's 1 second left. He knows that it's close because he heard the clap, but ultimately that should not decide if a fight is stopped or not. If there's 1 second left, doesn't matter. If you're not intelligently defending yourself, or if you're unconscious, you call it. So even if there's a minute left, in my opinion, it's still a bad stoppage, just because he was fine. Genevieve says, or Evie says, I think this is a really educational fight for Kopylov. He's going to learn a lot from this. Yes, I think he fought expertly. He had it tough for a little bit. Curtis
Yeah.
started bringing it on a little. I mean, the cut that he sustained is nasty. I don't know if you saw the pictures of him backstage, but it is not good.
Also, if it weren't for this fight, I would have gone 8, predicted correctly. We would have gone into another tie.
Oh, because
We
you had
would have had
Kopylov by decision.
I had Kopylov by decision. I did.
Mark Smith, dude.
Well,
honestly.
Curtis is very durable, man.
He's very durable. He's a tough guy.
So the rest of the fight went kind of how I thought it would. Just wasn't expecting a finish with 1 second left. I should have put down KO with 1 second left, and
There
would
you
have
go.
gone double
Extra
points
points.
for that. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. We'll
I
move
know
on.
Genevieve liked that cut.
Where are we? Yes, Evie for sure. We'll move on. Rodriguez versus Bashi.
Yeah, look, this fight, there's some very cool things to go over in this fight that almost deserve like an actual full video for, with the counter grappling that Rodriguez was using. That I think we're probably not going to go into it too much. It's a fun fight. Bashi obviously is highly touted project, very good wrestling, and C-Rod basically, he literally at the start of the fight, he just walks up and knees him in the face, and you
Good way
can
to start.
tell, yeah, pretty good start. Then Bashi takes his back, has some cool positioning on the back to keep position, but yeah, Rodriguez just kind of fought expertly, I thought, in this fight.
Yeah, very cautious. He did a pretty good job defending too. I know he was taken down a few times, but he got up quickly on a couple of those too.
Yeah.
And that like wide karate stance just allowed him to like just really like jump back quickly whenever Bashi was coming his way. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. But yeah, good fight, fun fight. If anybody loves watching some wrestling and some wrestling defense, that'd be the fight for you.
Yeah. Ghost says, I'm a pretty negative person, so when I say that this fight was awesome, it's genuinely good. Yeah, it was a very good fight. And like I said, it really does kind of deserve its own video breaking down a lot of the positions and transitions and just like setups and stuff, because it was very cool. I really like the shot selection from Rodriguez because he knows Bashi's going to shoot over and over and over again. I like the entries from Bashi despite the shots that C-Rod was throwing back. It is a very cool fight. I just
So
don't
relentless too, man.
Dude, I don't know how he. Well, I do know how. The guys. I mean, on that
we will move on. So the last fight we'll be covering before we move on to one fight night is Punahele Soriano versus Uros Medic.
Jesus.
Quick fight.
Yeah, this is one that everybody got right. Just kidding. Everybody got this wrong. Everybody picked Medic. Except maybe one person. I don't know. But yeah, basically, I like Soriano a lot. I think he's a very cool guy. He hits hard as fuck. He's a fun fighter to watch, win or lose. Medic is very interesting too. I think a little bit more interesting as a fighter. And I think, I don't know. I think he just got careless, escaping, right? Just moving backwards, hands down. What do you think?
Yeah, Punahele Soriano is always one of those guys that I'm like, man, he's just so close to putting it all together. He's one of those fighters that I feel like can have a breakout year, and at the end of the year, we can be talking about Soriano with 3 wins by the end of the year. But he just always runs into that one wall, man, where he makes one silly mistake, gets TKO'd, and then it's like back to the drawing board from him, right? So I don't know, man. It was fun while it lasted. Extended right left. Or was it left right?
Left right.
I think it's a left right. Yeah. That just happened to catch Medic, man.
Yeah, he got him. I mean, yeah, it's a nasty shot he dropped him with, huh?
Yep.
Jimmy says shifting combinations and bad boxing for the win here. Yeah, I mean, he cracked him with a big shot. The post-fight interview was amazing. I thought the post-fight interview was so funny with Soriano. And he's like, yeah, it was just, he's like, he's very self-aware, you could tell. And then he did that at the end where he's like, so funny,
hilarious,
dude.
All right, man. So that's those are all the fights that we're covering for UFC Vegas 101. Now, it is time. It is time. We will transition out of this.
Well, first, yeah, we had the push-ups from. I forgot about that. That was very funny. I wanted to give a shout out. Well, do we do bonuses? Let's do bonuses first, actually.
Oh, okay. You want to do? Let me see here. Moment of silence. Do we have any fights we lost?
No moment of silence.
Move on. All right. We will just do monies.
Yeah, bonuses. Performance of the nights went to Dern for her submission. And then the next one was Kopylov? No. Almeida. César Almeida
Ooh,
got one,
solid.
obviously, for his left hook. And then fight of the night was
Solid.
Kopylov versus Curtis. I thought Smith from the prelims could have got a bonus. Probably deserved a bonus.
And Hatley.
And Hatley probably got a bonus. Backroom bonus, maybe. The locker room bonus. And then, yeah, so that's all the bonuses. The last thing, though, is we made picks for the main card. We've been doing that every week now for the UFC. And then Rich, our producer, who does not watch fights, also makes his vibe picks where he just looks at the names and decides. And so me and you, we went 4-2. We got the last 4 right. The first 2 we got wrong.
Yeah.
We both picked Bashi.
Yep.
We both picked Medic. I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but Rich's vibe picks were Dern, Ponzinibbio, Almeida, Kopylov, Rodriguez, and Soriano.
Oh.
He went 6 for 6, dude, off the vibes alone.
All I can say is Ghost doesn't make picks because he knows too much, but I should make them because I don't know anything. It's like that. It's like that painting. You know that painting of Jesus, where it's like that lady painted and it looked just like Jesus from the old days, but it looked great even though she was unburdened by formal training. She didn't know anything about painting. It's like this, same thing.
Wow, that's
So just disassociate. Try that.
Here I am, taking a look at their previous records, taking a look at all these different things. I think I told you I spent an hour like trying to make these picks. Rich goes 6 for 6,
Just
based off
literally
vibes,
looking
dude.
at the names.
Here, I pulled it up. Hang on, I got the painting that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Just give me literally
Damn,
5
literally.
seconds.
Oh my
coming up.
God, let's see this painting.
So here's the original one by this artist named Garcia something. And then this lady never painted a day in her life. Boom!
Oh my
Look
God,
at
that one.
Shout out to Celia Jimenez, dude. Restored that thing. No training.
Yeah, that's
Let's-
like the
let's-
great
let's-
value painting. It's the exact same
Hey, I
thing.
would have made more money if I went to Vegas with these pictures, dude.
That's classic. Hey, shout out Rich, our producer, huh?
This is
6
so
for 6.
funny,
Ghost
dude.
says that's exactly it.
So funny.
All right.
Oh, man. I'm shackled
Now
by
we'll
this
move on.
knowledge.
Now we'll move on, man. We're
Yes.
gonna move on to One Fight Night 27, where we have a few fights to cover there, and
Yes.
we have a friend that's joining us. Am I right, Will?
Not sure. Maybe. As of right
Maybe?
now, it's a maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, then we will go on.
Yeah.
We will go on. If our friend joins us, we'll have him hop on along with us. But yes, we're going to be covering One Fight Night. And we'll start off with Tang versus Abdullaev.
Yes. One Fight Night 27. Akbar Abdullaev versus Tang. Here's the thing. Here's the bummer about this. It's a title fight. Abdullaev misses weight, or he fails hydration, or something like that. I don't remember. Same thing. Might as well be the same thing. And that's a bummer because he's challenging for the belt, and he's very good, and so is Tang. But so it's a little bit of a downer going into it. You're like, okay, well, the belt's not even on the line anymore. You know, it's kind of like when Robert Whittaker fought Yoel Romero, right? When Yoel missed weight, and you're like, that should be a title defense for Whittaker, but it's technically not because it wasn't like at risk of losing it. Genevieve says this was a really fun card. It was a fun card. Johnny Boy says Nick probably passed out.
Probably.
Hey, we're not going to confirm or deny who the friend is.
Oh, that's so funny.
Here's the thing, though. Abdullaev is very good. He's very, very good. From the moment this fight, well, maybe not the moment.
No,
2 minutes
Tang
into the
started off
fight,
with some solid boxing in the beginning, man.
yeah, great jab. Immediately
that
great
right
jab.
shot to the body, and he threw that
Yeah,
a couple
that was
times and made Abdullaev drop his hands. So he started going right body, left up top, left hook up top,
Yeah.
up top that opened it up. So I was like, okay, good start for Tang.
Yeah, and he was looking good. And then like halfway through that round, Abdullaev, I don't know if he just saw what he needed to see or what, or just got used to the rhythm immediately. And maybe I need to rewatch it. And maybe Tang was just fighting in a pattern that I didn't pick up on like live. But Abdullaev literally, it seemed like he just flipped a switch and was like, all right, I'm going to just run away with everything from here on out in this fight. Because all of a sudden he started moving differently. He's shifting in kind of like Dominic Cruz, where he's like bobbing and weaving and then like turning his shoulder, like switching his shoulder. And it's super weird movement as he marches forward, and just gave him no room for the rest of the fight. It was crazy to watch that switch of him. Like
When he started stringing together combinations himself, he started moving forward. When he was the one that was pressing the action, it definitely changed for Tang Kai, man. And then once he started getting those takedowns, his top control.
Oh my god, dude. Sick takedowns. That inside trip from the clinch was so fucking
that's what I was about to
dude.
mention right now. It was so good. Dude, the way his leg stretched out and wrapped around a trip, I was like, oh my God. But Abdullaev was so impressive, man. Dominated from like you said, the second half of the first round all the way through. Like this was a no-doubter, slam dunk for Abdullaev, any way that you want to put it.
Yeah.
And it's just frustrating to know that he's not walking away with the belt.
It is. I thought this was hilarious. I don't know if this is legal, by the way. I've never seen anybody
squeezing
do this.
his nose.
Literally reaching up and grabbing the nose, dude. I mean,
and covering his mouth
and squeezing his nose. I don't know if that's legal or not. I've never seen it before. But yeah, just crafty stuff from Abdullaev, like at everywhere in this fight. He threw that no look right hand. That was fucking sick.
When he started feeling himself.
Yeah.
You know, he did the little thing where he kind of like moves this right and then just lands a left jab. And then after that, he looks away and comes in with that. Look, there it is. The no look punch.
There's a look away. And then here's the right hand.
Oh my God.
Genevieve says, a smother is one thing, but I feel like that's just being a bully. It's brutal, dude.
Wet Willie afterwards, too. Did you notice that one? It's just like, dude, it was such an interesting fight. He just dominated in every aspect.
You know what I really like, though?
What?
That half guard position where he was threatening kind of with like a choke a little bit to elbows. And then because it's one, he's able to frame off in half guard and throw that left knee up to his face.
Knees, dude.
That was fucking nasty. A lot of sprawling knees to the head that were very cool. And then eventually he gets the finish because Tang Kai kind of reaches under to either get his hips out. That picture there, you see his right hand is in between the leg of the calf and the thigh of Abdullaev. But he does that, right? You do that so that you can grab that leg, get your hips out, and either throw your leg over for an armbar. You see Charles Oliveira do that a lot, just to attack the arm so that he can get up. But Abdullaev just sat back down on it and trapped him there and started lighting him up. And eventually he gets his arm out, but it's just enough to kind of cover up and just gets finished from guard. And I was like, oh no, dude.
So if you're one now,
finish.
Yeah. You have Tang Kai, who's still holding on to the belt, right?
Still got the belt.
Walking away after getting dominated for 4.5 rounds.
Yeah.
You do immediate rematch?
You have to, right?
You have to. After this,
I think they're already talking about it. You have to.
After it was so dominant?
Shout out Chummy Boy, says good clinch control as well from a Muay Thai fan perspective. Yes. He was very, very good. And dude, he's the truth, man. He looked like a world beater. He looked so good. And Tang Kai is good, dude. He's a good fighter. It's not like he beat some nobody, you know?
No gold confetti?
No gold confetti. Didn't win the belt, dude.
Can you imagine gold confetti goes off, they take the belt to Tang Kai, and he just...
Bring it back. Oh, yeah.
Give it to Tang Kai, and he just walks off with the gold confetti. That'd be rough. All right.
Bo says pinching the nose is a classic technique in the Chinese grappling book Chin Na Fa. Hopefully I said that right. You guys should read it because it's so funny. Pinching the nose is brutal, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Rio says, did you guys hear the commentary say that Tang Kai is the greatest Chinese MMA fighter in the world? I think I heard that in the very beginning too, right? When they were
they said that right away, yeah. Shout out Mitch, dude. Or maybe it was Ray, I don't know. Look, they gotta talk. What are they gonna say? Zhang Wei Li's the best Chinese fighter in the world? They can't say that.
Yeah.
They can't say that.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some homer. Look, the UFC doesn't really have to take digs or anything like that. Other organizations are going to. And not that that's a dig necessarily. They're just trying to say, like, look, we got the best shit. They kind of have to.
Yeah.
They kind of have to.
I
don't hold it against them.
Yep.
Yeah, got to hype the product 100%.
Ready to move on to the next one?
I just want to say this is the best MMA podcast online in the world currently at this time.
At this time, that's on live at this very moment. Yes. Shout out, Rich. A couple appearances from Rich today. It's been a while.
Yeah. I dig it.
All right. We'll move on to the co-main event. We had Lineker versus Kulabdam.
Yes.
Will.
And just in time.
You text me. You said Lineker versus Kulabdam was such a gift. Isn't that what you said?
No, I said it's glorious.
Oh, it's glorious.
But you know what else is glorious, Ramiro, before
What?
we move into this?
What?
When a friend joins the show.
Oh, we have a friend joining us? I wonder who this could be. Let's see.
Do we have a drum
It's
roll?
Mr. Nick Akin.
Sorry,
None other
I'm late.
than
Apologies. I got the timing wrong. I was asking Will if I was still needed, and then I didn't check my messages, but I missed the main event. I'm sorry.
It's all
So-
good. It's all good. Hey, I know that there's a few hour differential between you and us, so things
Just
can
a
get
little bit.
confusing sometimes. Just a little bit.
Yeah. What did you so you talked about Tang, right?
We talked
Yes.
about the smother, the
Okay.
pinch the nose technique. We talked about the lack
Yeah.
of confetti.
Okay.
The lack of
well,
confetti.
lack of confetti, yeah.
Missed opportunity by production. What can we say?
Yeah, I don't know what I can add. I'm sure you guys talked about it, but if you want my thoughts, let me know. I can think about it. But
I think we'll just move on.
yeah. A bit of a damp
Um,
squid, well, as I would say.
A little bit of a damp squib at the end
Yeah,
there
yeah.
for sure.
All right. Do we want to just head straight into Lineker versus Kulabdam?
Yes, I sure do. Because like we were saying, it was indeed glorious. We can just take a look at some of it really quick. Shout out one
Yes.
for letting us use their footage. But there's the big knockdown right away from Lineker, the uppercut.
Within the
Everyone's
first
like,
minute.
"Oh, the left hook. Watch the left hook." And he says, "Haha, here's the uppercut," which is beautiful. I don't know how Kulabdam got up from that. It looked like he was dead. And then they just went to war for the rest of this fight, dude. I mean, this is madness.
I absolutely love it, man. Every time I watch Lineker fight, it's fireworks. When's the last time you've seen Lineker in a boring fight?
I don't know if I ever have.
Nick?
I've seen him. His one debut was incredibly boring because
Maybe
I think he
one.
broke his hand in the first round or something.
Okay. Well, that
Yeah.
explains it.
Who was it? He was against Muin Gafarov, not Murat Gafarov. I think the brother of Murat Gafarov, former one featherweight champ. I think that was it. Something like that in 2019. A few months after he left UFC. Yeah, it was a terrible fight. Unanimous decision. October 2019. Yeah. But other than that, he's been fireworks from what I've seen of him in one. I know in UFC he had some incredible fights as well. But
Definitely.
After that, it's pretty much all been knockouts, bowing on Troy Word and Bibiano. Fabricio, those fights were both great. Knocked
Those
out
are
Kim
legendary.
Jae-yoon. Yeah, the Stephen
So-
Lohman fight wasn't great, but yeah. Anyway,
Question for you guys, though, because you have Lineker that lost this fight by decision,
Mhm.
right? What did you think, Nick, at the end of the fight?
so I in this stadium, I thought it's going to be close just because we know the knockdown rule in one, and it kind of is heavily in favor of the person who knocks down. If you get knocked down, you kind of have to do something incredible to get it back, and I think Kulabdam did that. I still wasn't sure in the stadium, and I think I was still okay. Maybe Lineker's going to win, but Kulabdam got it. It was a lot of people were immediately trashing it online, saying it was a robbery. Mainly just because of that knockdown rule. We've seen that implemented and kind of enforced in one a lot. But then I watched the fight back a bit later with Keith, who you might see on my chat every now and then. Yeah, we both just agreed. Yeah, pretty much 40 seconds afterwards, Kulabdam beat the snot out of Lineker.
Dude.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
going through it, right, you have the quick knockdown in the beginning. For me, it seemed like right after that, it was Kulabdam cruising through the rest of the fight. Will, did you see the same thing?
I rewatched this one. I've watched this 3 times now.
Nerd.
Watched it. Yeah, watched it. Watched it live. Watched it this morning, and then watched it while I was eating lunch. But
Can't get enough.
knockdown. It's. I mean, it's so good, right? It's so good. And part of that is, look, when Lineker knocked out Baatarkhuu, immediately because he knocked him out with like 3 left hooks, right? He just kept spamming the left hook. And I was like, dude, the left hook versus the left meteorite, that's the fight we need to see. Kulabdam. But knowing that might be a bit too much for him in Muay Thai. He's on his Muay Thai adventure. Kulabdam is elite, right? So like this might be a bit much for Lineker, but Lineker's not going to be like frozen in the fear of that might being too much for him in Muay Thai. He's still going to fight the way Lineker fights. And Kulabdam is no stranger to firefight. So like it's going to be incredible no matter what. I thought after the knockdown, Lineker went so hard, and I think he blew his wad a little bit. And I think Kulabdam just kind of took over. I mean, the body kicks, he was lighting him. So Lineker's slowing down naturally because he went so hard in the first half of the first round. But then to add to that, he misses weight, he misses the hydration, and Kulabdam's digging to the body the entire fight. By the end of this fight, Lineker, I think part of what let them feel comfortable giving it to Kulabdam, even though he got dropped, was some of the body language from Lineker towards the end of this fight. Like, he didn't get dropped. He was never really like rocked or like on skates or anything like that. But as they would exit exchanges, he's like, he looked like he was about to like pass out at some points. So I think that body language also helped them overcome that 10-8 first round. I thought it's the right decision. It might not go along with precedent that they've set in the past, with taking 1 round with a knockdown and then losing the next 2 or losing 2 rounds and still getting the win. But I do think this could be the precedent moving forward, and I kind of hope it is, because I think the right winner got the dub.
Yeah,
that was
no, absolutely. It was really impressive, and I was scrolling through social media and I saw a post that said, Lineker robbed, and I was like, oh no. And I because I hadn't seen the fight yet, so I just like skipped through it real quick. But I was like, damn it, I already know what happened in my head. But then I watched it, I was like, I don't see it. Yeah, he dropped him right in the first minute. But then after that, like I said, for me, it was just Kulabdam cruising, man. He was mixing it up very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
When he started landing those push kicks at the end too, the leg kicks, the kicks to the body, they pointed out a few times, he snuck that kick in right underneath the armpit of Lineker when Lineker was throwing one of those wide rights. And so he just seemed to mix it in very well for 2.5 rounds. Enough in my eyes. Like, if we would have watched this fight, and I always go back to this, right? Like, it's just a street fight. He gets dropped real quick. He gets up and then just kicks his ass for the next 2.5 rounds or the next 6 minutes. You're like, well, he won.
Yeah. I think the basis for people claiming robbery, and I think it is fair, is just the precedent that one has kind of set in the past.
That makes sense.
If you get a knockdown and then lose 2 rounds, you're still going to get the win. But I don't know. There hasn't been too many fights similar enough where it's not that they lost those 2 rounds, but they were like outclassed those 2 rounds. It's usually like they're losing. Maybe they get a knockdown and then lose 2 rounds, but they're competitive rounds. This was, he was getting lit up, dude. The whole fight. It's just he's just so tough. It doesn't matter.
The same weight division too. Kulabdam seemed massive.
Yeah, and Lineker's the one that missed even more.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. All right, Nick, did you have anything else on this fight?
I think just a comment I saw on one of my Instagram posts summed it up. It was the art of 8 limbs against 2, and that's it.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
And it shows Lineker is just not really. If you put him against a really top Muay Thai, especially an actual Thai, I think you're going to see the difference. I think it puts an end to that idea that maybe he can blag his way to the title or a title shot. But I still want to see. It doesn't mean I don't want to see him continue in Muay Thai. I think there's still a lot of intriguing matchups. I'm more intrigued to see him fight Muay Thai, honestly, than MMA. I think, because who else is he going to fight in MMA in one? But there's still a bunch of interesting fights for him, I think, in Muay Thai, and he's going to win some, he's going to lose some. They're all going to be fun. And another thing I thought I want to see now is, I know it didn't go too well for him in kickboxing against Haggerty, but I would love to see Andrade maybe against Kulabdam, just to see whether that would go any differently, because I think Andrade's got more weapons he could use. But
he's more versatile than
first things first, he's got an MMA title shot against Quan, but
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. I think it shows that this is kind of one of the cool things about one championship is you can take someone from another sport, put them in another, see what happens. It's always going to be interesting. So hats off. Great matchmaking, great fight. It delivered. Crowd
Lineker
loved
going
it.
for the jiu-jitsu belt now?
Well,
Well, he tried it.
I think
no, he didn't try. It was just
the only other thing I'd say is I wonder if the two instances on Friday maybe played into the decision. I don't know if they did. I'm just speculating because there were two fights on Friday fights. The Ondash brothers both won, where the opponents, the crowd wasn't happy that the ties. Not Abdullaev. It was Kongchai and Ramadan, and then it was Sonasen and Borapon. I think the crowd were very unhappy with this, but I think the right decisions were made. But they were throwing bracelets in the ring.
Yeah, I saw Olivier caught something,
yeah.
and then he like looks in the crowd. And he's like,
yeah. But
what a savage.
Yeah, especially the main event. It was like that was the kind of knockdown rule thing that people were upset about. They think Kongchai did enough to come back from the knockdown against Ondash, and it wasn't a terrible knockdown. And I rewatched that fight, and he did really mess up Ondash's arm really badly. And I interviewed Ondash after; it was looking terrible. So
a little haggard.
Yeah, you have to weigh it up, right? I think maybe the judges might have been feeling a little pressure from that. They didn't want to riot on their hands. If they'd given it to Lineker. If a third foreigner beats a Thai in the space of 12 hours, maybe see Lumpini go up in flames. I don't know. But I think they got the right decision, luckily. Yeah. And anyway.
All right. Cool. We will move on to the next fight. We had Zamboanga versus Rassohyna. Now, real quick, before I pass it on to you guys, I just want to say Zamboanga looked like she was prepared so well for this fight. The film was definitely watched. Phenomenal job by her coaches. Again, preparation phenomenal. What stood out to you the most, Will?
For me, it was just like the completeness to her game, like just the well-roundedness for Denise. Like it started off, they're kind of just picking their shots with like leg kicks and things like that. But then you see Denise start mixing it up to the legs, to the body, to the head, really mixing up her shots. And then defending takedowns really well. Using the takedown defense to get on top on her for herself, and then just not coasting in top control.
Yes.
And then Rassohyna, very good job off her back, even cool submission attempts from her back that Denise saw coming and defended well. Her leg was in trouble at one point. She fell into like a inverted triangle with like a second left of I think the first round.
Yeah.
So some cool jiu-jitsu from Rassohyna, but Denise just prepared everywhere. The well-roundedness really stood out to me for Denise.
Yeah, the small steps back as Rassohyna was coming in and throwing blows, and she just did just enough just to be able to get out of the way and counter. Right, she was ready for the armbar attempts. Again, she just looked so well prepared. Nick, how about you, man? What did you see?
Very impressive from Denise. I'm not as good at analyzing fights as you boys. That's why I listen to your show and let you do it. I just think I want to congratulate Denise. She really impressed me. I think that was one of her best performances. I didn't think she'd get the finish. I thought it would be a kind of 5-round snooze fest, shall we say. But she really stepped it up. Stamp didn't finish Rassohyna in 2 attempts. She lost one of those fights too. So I think that's a psychological advantage Denise can take into their unification fight. I think that you have to remember Rassohyna's been gone for 3 years though, and she's had a kid, I think, between that time. So I'm sure there was some ring rust. But take nothing away from Denise.
You can say ring rust for Denise too, right? It's been a while. She's had setbacks on her own,
Yeah, but it's not been 3 years.
It's not the same.
It's like 6 months or something, maybe. So she has had fights cancelled, and there's a mental aspect there. You're right, of having a title shot slip through her fingers. I think 3 or 4 times. The first time when Angela Lee got pregnant, then she kind of got a controversial loss in the Grand Prix against Ham So-hee, and then she had this fight was scheduled twice before, fell through last year in Qatar and Bangkok. So, I mean, the one with Stamp. And then this fight with Rassohyna was booked for October, fell through. So that's essentially kind of like 5 things she's had to go through. So I'm not going to take anything away from her performance. I'm going to give her flowers. It was excellent.
Nice. Yeah. Nick, are we looking at Denise versus Stamp now?
Yeah. But I I will be dropping some news soon. Well, I think it's already up on my channel, but Stamp talked to me about she's looking to do a kickboxing fight in May, and this is something I suggested. I don't know if one already had that in mind or if they were watching my show. Probably they already had it in mind. You know, great minds think alike. But I was saying, you know, how Smilla Sundell came back after a long injury layoff and fought a kickboxing fight on before she had a title defense. She told me she's gonna do a kickboxing fight around May. Shake off the ring rust, I imagine, and then maybe do that title unification later in the year. I don't know where they do it, but I do hear rumors of a card in the summer, July time that might make sense. I can't really say the location, but I don't think it's going to be in Thailand or Manila. I mean, you could do it in either. It'd be a bit unfair on Stamp to do it in Manila, and I don't know if one's going back there, but you know, you could easily do it in Bangkok. But I think there's a I don't know. We'll see. I would expect, late summer, maybe July, around then, August. Depending how Stamp's kickboxing fight goes. I don't think the opponent would be too daunting for her, but I don't know because you don't want it to be a complete can, right? But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight. It's been in the works for a long time. Former training partners, good story, friends.
The picture of them in the cage for the face-off was hilarious. It's so good.
Yeah, it's just not a face-off. Like they just hug and the friendliest face-off we've ever seen, I think, in combat sports. But
that's so awesome.
Funny.
Yeah,
What
both lovely people. Yeah, and they deserve all their success. And I think it's probably one of the most hyped MMA fights one can make. You know, in terms of their fan bases for each fighter. So looking forward to it.
Evie says, sweetest face-off ever. I like it.
100%.
All right. We shall move on. We had Lessei versus Jerome. Anything going on in the background for this one, Nick? Anything leading up that you wanted to call out?
I think it's important to see the context of Lessei after the last fight against Bampara. He's really made a lot of changes. He moved to New Jersey. He's been with Beacon Martial Arts, I think it's called. He's been working with whole new coaches and with a whole slew of top level fighters. And Shane Faison was with him. My guy Shane, shout out to him. He came out. It was great to see him. His whole mindset. He's been working with a kind of mental performance coach, whatever you call him, Jerry Walsh, I think his name was. And you know, our pre-fight interview, he referenced that and said, Jerry told me, you know, pressure is a privilege. And that seems to be the catchphrase that has really sparked Luke's change in mindset. You know, he just looked so comfortable out there. He looked like a different fighter. He looked aggressive. He wasn't just there to be beaten up like he's been, you know, and he talked about that as well. He went out and dialed on him. Yeah.
A lot of damage. Yeah.
Well, because go ahead.
No, I was just about to ask you, Will, right? Like we just saw the clips right now. Anything that you saw with the setup leading up to for Lessei?
Well, one thing I don't know. I really want to have Luke on the show. I'm a big fan of Luke, but Jerome missed, right? He missed weight by what was it? Like he came in pretty heavy, right?
Yeah, he just didn't get the hydration thing, and you see this a lot with debutantes. You know that they just don't. It's totally different. Like they think they can do it, but they 90% of the time they fail. So.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if because it was like I think it was the first body kick that Luke landed on him that dropped him, and I'm like, I wonder if there was something with maybe like the travel or the weight cut gone wrong, maybe or something like that.
Same, I thought the same. Yeah, and he was actually talking to some of the matchmakers or officials, maybe about going up in weight next time. I don't know what would be better for him. I think if him and his team can figure out this hydration stuff, I think he's still the right size for this division. Might be a little too small for what would it be, lightweight, and I think he's just got to get that hydration thing because
figured out. Yeah,
once he can, I think he's obviously got a lot of talent and he's got heart. He's a good guy. Luke just
dude, he just ran into a bus stop.
Yeah.
One thing that really stood out to me too from Luke in this fight was the elbows. That was one thing. I know the story of this is going to be the kicks to the body and stuff like that because that's what started everything. and he kept going back to it. But anytime they clinched, Luke would just unload these vicious elbows, and he was coming from cool angles. And I mean, props to Cody Jerome because he took some massive elbows in this one. And yeah, it was just, it sucks because Cody seems like a good guy. And I watched his fights, the Road to One fights, right? Seems like a fun fighter, but Luke, like you said, I think with the changes that he made, the preparation and everything, I think this version of Luke, you know, every fight is a different version of a fighter. And I think Luke on that night is tough to beat for a lot of guys. He's firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, agreed.
All right.
And shout out Chester, by the way.
Yeah, there he is.
Nice. Shout out Chester. Yeah, but anything else on the fight before I move on, gentlemen?
I think that's it.
I think I had one thing. I can't remember what it is now, but yeah, Luke. Yeah, he had an eye injury. I was going to say, Cody called him in the first exchange. He couldn't really open his eye. I saw him later on. He seems to have. He wasn't as bad as the last eye injury, right? Where I think it was an orbital, but could barely open his left eye. So,
oh shit.
Yeah, I just want to say as well, Cody. I think Cody will be back. A lot of people would say, "Oh, he's bummed," but I think the body was compromised probably from his weight cut. So if they get that side of it right, I'm sure Cody will be back soon. But I'm excited to see Luke. I think there's so many cool matchups now, and I think people are going to stop seeing him as a stepping stone. Everyone was like, "Oh, I can call out Luke Lessei and get a win and get into the top 5." But I think
be the guy with like a good social media presence.
Yeah, I don't think people will be so quick to want to do that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, no. He was nasty.
All right. We're going to skip some fights. The last fight we're going to cover from the event is Baatarkhuu versus Canarte.
Oh, really?
Dude. But I'm a big fan of Baatarkhuu. This guy, he's just
the tormentor.
Actually, Rich, I like that style, Rich. If you want to go back to that one, I like that layout. He's really only lost to Belloc, right?
Yeah,
where he got finished. But outside of that, if you look at his resume, he wins his debut by decision. Then he gets a first round stoppage, a Kimura, an arm triangle choke, and then now another Kimura. I mean, the guy's a finisher, and the torque that he got on this arm was fucking disgusting, dude.
How did he hang on for so long, right? When he does the first torque, and you see his hand go out, and he's ready to tap, like he has the ready. He's like, actually, I don't think my shoulder's popping out of its socket quite yet. It goes back and starts, dude. But he gets in that gnarly position, almost like a crucifix. But he ends up on that further end. Look at that, to get that maximum leverage. It was so nasty. My shoulder hurt after watching this.
Bro, this picture looks like AI, dude. It looks like it doesn't understand the human anatomy. Like you're not supposed to look like that, dude.
Oh, that is crazy.
And you said maybe a Joe rematch. Oh, that's for Luke. Yeah, it's got to be for Luke. That could be fun. The first fight was fun. Baatarkhuu.
Yeah.
Baatarkhuu just, I mean, he's a savage, dude. I'm a huge fan. Straight up pickle for Baki. I don't know that reference.
Yeah.
But I like it. But yeah, just a nasty submission. He's an animal, dude. I think he's got a cool tattoo on his arm. I like the hair and the beard. He's just fucking cool, dude. I'm a big Baatarkhuu fan. I want to see more.
Yeah, and the way that he chained through everything too, right? Like he grabs Canarte, drags him down. When he drags him down, he goes straight onto like a neon belly. Mm-hmm. And when Canarte tries to shrimp away, he grabs the arm and switches to the other side to threaten the arm bar right away. Canarte just had to go defense. And Baatarkhuu was just able to chain into everything until he finally landed it in that Kimura there. And I just thought to myself, like, dude, no matter what you do right now, Canarte, you're pretty much screwed. He's going to find an angle.
Yeah. Cheshire says when I first saw his name, I thought he was a Star Wars character. He looks like one. I think the coolest thing about this is that Canarte was defending well the whole time. He made the right moves. It's not like he fell into a trap or anything like that. It's just Baatarkhuu was able to anticipate each defense, like you said, each transition that Canarte would try to make to escape. he just floated with it and just kept it. Most people lose control of the submission twice in this exchange.
Yes.
But he kept it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else from your end, Nick?
Yeah, I wish this guy would put some effort into his promotion, self-promotion, and his social media game, and I think he could be a real star. He's got the look. He's got this incredible look, to be honest, incredible style. He's so strong. He's like such a contrast when he gets in the ring, and then when you hear him talk, he's so nice and just smiling constantly. And he's called the Tormentor, which is just a brilliant nickname. And he's got a great submission. I think he did the same one to Sanjiao's kid. Yeah. And he shut down. There's a lot of hype around Janlo Sanjiao. Justifiably, he looks good, but he's still very young. But EO just smashed him with that, and he's kind of been Team Lakai's Tormentor. I think he's beaten 3 of them, and but then he lost to Will referenced it to Artem Belak. So, and Artem's kind of been. I think he's gone now. I don't know. I haven't seen him for a while, but he's been up and Artem's that had a decent record. I think he beat. He lost to Kwon though, but that's no shame.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought when Baatarkhuu lost that fight, I'm just not sure what his level is. And then, no disrespect to Canarte, but I'm not sure Canarte is a top level either. And he's also featherweight, and he lost to bantamweight. I do like Aaron Canarte. He's a lovely guy. I think, it's tough though. He's 0-3 now and 1. He'll be at a real crossroads there. But Enkh-Orgil, I just don't know what his ceiling is. Whether it's, I think if he goes too high, he loses to, real top
some of the
level
top guys.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see it. He's just a fun character. I just wish he'd put a little bit more effort, or the people around him, to promoting himself. He could be a breakout star on social media. One could really get behind him. He
looks terrifying.
But
he's representing Mongolia, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I pictured every Mongolian warrior from back in the day that was just taking over town. Like, look at him.
Everyone on my Twitter, I posted a picture of him, and he's just smiling, and they were like, just Genghis Khan, all those jokes, and it's he could really lean into it. He could. I don't know if it's borderline racist or what, but people were having fun with it, and he could really, I think, get popular, but he needs to do more, and then one could help him out a bit, I think.
Do you guys ever watch The Raid, that movie series?
I've heard of it.
I have not.
Bro.
Oh, Lord.
It's him, dude.
For anybody just listening and not watching, you have to tune into YouTube. Check out the pictures that Will and Rich are loading. I wouldn't say it's a direct comparison.
It's not a one-to-one.
The hair, maybe.
Yeah, that's all that matters, is the hair. The beard with the hair. Every time I see Baatarkhuu, I think of this dude from The Raid 2. If you haven't seen that movie, it's got one of the best fight scenes ever made. But Baatarkhuu. And like what you said, Nick, the level of opponent is like, okay, what does this really mean? But me and Ramiro talk about this all the time, when sometimes guys get a guy who is potentially a layup. You don't really want to say that, but sometimes it can be. But it's still, you'll see someone get a layup matchup and then not finish them emphatically. And so it's like, maybe this was a little bit of a layup for him, but
this wasn't even a layup. He came in as a short notice replacement for Tim Nastasiukin, and he was coming up from bantamweight, and people were saying, "Oh, is this a layup for Canarte?" I thought Baatarkhuu was the favorite still, even though he was coming up. I think.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around.
What, that Canarte came in?
No, I thought it was. People were saying that Canarte was the layup for Baatarkhuu.
I don't think
I'm
so.
pretty high on Baatarkhuu.
Yeah. I mean, Canarte was booked against Tim, and then
I see what you mean.
Enkh-Orgil came in as the late, so I don't think it was a layup for him at all. As in, you may see it like it may have been like transpired that way, but I don't think one kind of said, well, Tim's out, let's put Baatarkhuu in and smash this guy. I don't know. I feel like they were trying to get Canarte a win because he's pretty popular in South America. Maybe they miscalculated that and they thought too little of Enkh-Orgil. But when you're playing with a few weeks out from a show, you can't really match make to the highest. You've just got to get what you can, and didn't work out well for Canarte, but worked out well for EO, as I
worked out well for me too.
Call him. Yeah.
Will, by the way, you mentioned the Raid as having one of the best fight scenes ever. Is it better than Kung Fu Hustle?
Oh, I love Kung Fu Hustle, but
Classic fight scenes.
It has classic fight scenes, but the Raid 2 has a fight scene in a kitchen where I'm telling you, dude, if you watch it, you're gonna be like, "Holy shit, dude! I didn't realize
I'm gonna have to
movies
check it
could have
out.
fight scenes like this." You guys both gotta watch that. That's the homework.
All right,
the Raid 2
for sure. And that was it. I believe those were all the fights we're gonna cover.
Yes, that's all we're doing tonight. There was some other fights worth talking about, but it's a long show. It's late.
I'll be doing a show in about 10 hours where I'll go through the whole card. So if you're watching and you want to talk about those, come over to my channel.
Yeah,
you can see it, I think, on the ticker somewhere. But yeah,
on the ticker in the description as well has your links. So
yeah,
if anybody wants to go more in depth or just hear from, we say
hear my thoughts on Akbar, Abdullaev, and Tang.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to get Nick's take. Nick was there, but we always talk about, Nick, the best reporter, the Ariel Helwani of one. I hear a lot, or the best reporter of one. Let's just call a spade a spade. He's the best journalist in combat sports.
No,
it doesn't matter if it's one
up
or
in the
boxing
game,
or
up in the game, dude.
Let's just call it what it is.
I love it. Hey, Nick, always a pleasure to have you on, man.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to have you on. You're a class act, man. Appreciate all the work that you do and what you bring to the show as well whenever you hop on. So thank you, good sir. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. Appreciate your kind words there. And I'm not sure if that's true, but I try my best. And
he's humble.
And he's humble.
Not always been humble, but I enjoyed. There was a really busy week, and we got a week off now, and then we're back at it for 170. So it never stops. But I'm really privileged and blessed to have this job, and I'm glad you all enjoy it. I'll keep doing it as long as I can, to the best of my ability. Yeah, what a dream! I'm living a dream.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, shout out to everybody that joined us in the chat. There's way too many folks to mention, but we always appreciate when you hop on live and you chat it up with us. Makes the podcast so much better. Big shout out again to Nick Atkin, at Nick Atkin, pretty much, or at Nick Atkin 1, pretty much everywhere, right, Nick?
Yeah, I don't have the. It's just NIC. Maybe I'm going to change it. Put the K back in to my handle. I don't know. I just didn't want 2 Ks in there. Does that make sense? What do you think? Yeah, I'm gonna toy with it. But the problem is, if you change it, you got to unsubscribe from your verified stuff on Instagram. So then
we might be in too deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there it is. NIC80KIN1. I'm not hard to find. Yeah, I'm not hard to find.
It's in the description. Shout out Will. Thank you very much for always phenomenal analysis. And just reminding everybody, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, goes a long way. We're trying to reach 20,000 subscribers. And big shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, who went 6 for 6 on his UFC predictions, strictly based off of vibes. Shout out Rich Bustos, and thank you everybody for joining.